Good to see you, everyone. My name is Robbie Howell.
And I'm Liu. I'm his wife.
This is my lovely wife. We have been together as of now for over 6 years, about 2.5 of which we have been married for. However, the process by which I was able to secure my place in your family's good books was a rather laborious one.
The first encounter Rob had ever had with my parents was when my dad walked in on us.
It was early in the morning and we thought he was at work, and it was...
He came back because he forgot something.
Oh yeah. He was very, very upset.
He was very upset. And you gotta remember, these are Asian parents.
Immigrant Asian parents.
Immigrant Asian parents.
Even though it was just your dad that we had that experience with, your mom and he were definitely aligned in their substantial dislike of me.
They wanted me to marry somebody that is able to provide. My mom actually had to support my dad, which she very much resented him for, when he was unemployed for something like, I want to say like 4 years or something like that. And she hated it.
Of course.
And she just really didn't want me to have to support my husband the way that she did.
Yeah, makes total sense, especially coming from the background that they came from. They definitely made it abundantly clear to you how much they disliked me.
Oh yes.
You were already in the process of rebelling from your parents, and I think that our relationship start was kind of the breaking point that made you crank up the intensity of that.
Yeah. So my parents were always incredibly controlling. And I am, by nature, a very individualistic person.
And ambitious.
And ambitious. When I was going to college, they wanted me to study accounting because they figured that would give me a steady job. And I wanted to study theoretical physics because I wanted to, like, discover the next big thing or something like that. So we
ambitious.
Yeah. So we compromised, and I studied computer science. I've always been kind of, like, pushing back against my parents, but when they started being so, like, nasty and like underhanded with Rob, who is the first like boyfriend.
And passive aggressive messages, I should clarify, were not the extent of it. We don't want to go into intensive detail about this situation as it is now behind us, and we don't want to dredge up old baggage, but suffice for now to say that it was a relentless campaign of character assassination, always under the pretext of care.
If you think that you are somebody who's in that kind of situation, I recommend checking out a subreddit called r/justknowmother-in-law. They have a lot of really good information about what you can do and how to recognize signs of abuse.
It was just so galling how, like, my parents are divorced. I can't even come up with an analogy. It's so stupid.
In my experience, from people I've spoken to, when they are in a situation where their significant other has a family that strongly dislikes them, their significant other is unwilling to push back against the family and kind of becomes this awkward intermediary. You laid down a couple of very specific ground rules. One is you refuse to be a middleman.
Yes,
and that was huge.
It was getting to me. It was wearing me down. Like because it's so easy to like be critical when you're in a bad mood, and when somebody is already feeding you criticism, it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't want to think about it. Oh, yeah, I'll be critical.
And I wanted to talk to them about their concerns. You also very aggressively shut down any attempts they made to criticize me to your face. Which,
oh, you got a problem? Raise it with a big 6-foot-tall man.
Well, once they did actually start trying to come and talk to me, even like be willing to tolerate my presence, I was able to start to forge little cracks in the ice, right? And the way I did that was by being aggressively positive and really trying my best to charm them. I don't have many redeeming qualities in their traditional senses, but something I do have is I can make them feel like I care about them. I was always trying to help around the house. I think that was part of what started to soften your mom. Not to mention being very polite to her, very deferential to her, and very respectful of her. I remember the first time she cooked for me, I was like, wow, this is a difference, right? She actually is willing to make me food. Now, your dad didn't really let me do any of those things, so instead, it was kind of by accident that I got him on my side. I've been able to use chopsticks since I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I think he was so shocked that a white guy would use chopsticks proficiently. He sees me eating with chopsticks, and do you remember how he was like, oh, Did you teach him? Did you learn? It was very funny, and I was like, no, I just grew up eating a chopstick. I think at that same dinner, and for a couple dinners thereafter, I made a point of asking him about not only his upbringing, but also his knowledge of China, because I have a big interest in history, and I was able to chat with him pretty fluently about Chinese history. And I think that also really helped him feel like, okay, well, he's trying to engage with me, and he's also respecting my culture.
You actually engaged with him, and you treated him like a person. You actually treated him like somebody that you like, which I think is something that he hasn't had for quite a while. And I don't think he knows how much he likes it. To this day, I'm pretty sure if you ask him, do you like Rob? He'll be like,
No.
His hair.
I don't like that
But like, sit him down in the same room as Robbie, he is going to be one happy puppy.
Yeah. If someone says they don't like me but then treat me decently, that's not a problem in my books at the very least, you know? So then her parents tried to sit me down. They tried to have the talk. They kind of united to try to mount one last assault. They were actually quite genuine with me. And what they said was, we're really concerned that you're not going to be able to give our daughter the life that we want her to have. And I said, yeah, that's very, very reasonable. And what I did is I outlined for them, here's the jobs I've worked in the past, here's the work ethic I've demonstrated in the past, and just because I'm being kind of a loser artist right now, doesn't mean that I am tied to that fate forever.
My mom still continued to do a lot of like the undermining. Another rule that I put down to sort of combat this was they speak English around whenever there is Rob or any of his family around, because
yeah,
it's part of the I don't want to play middleman, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to
absolutely.
ask questions for them, and you're also not going to have discussions through me. I'm just going to speak English back at you, and I am going to make it abundantly clear that I don't appreciate you cutting out people in the room. They're not able to go at you because you are somebody who is very good at holding your own, and they're not able to go at you through me because I'm just not giving them the opportunity.
But at this point in our life, I would say that we're at a rather stable position with your parents. Your mom has visited us and has even really opened up to me on a couple of occasions about her concerns beyond just our relationship and some of her regrets parenting Liu growing up, which was very meaningful to me. So let's summarize this out. For if you are in a relationship with someone whose family is trying their best to end the relationship, even if your partner really wants it to happen, what are some advice we would give? Obviously coming from the context of white American plus Asian immigrant, but I'm sure it can apply elsewhere as well.
Well, I would say a big one is both of you better know why you like each other.
Yes.
And you better like each other a lot. Do you want to think of one?
Oh, I have a couple. If you are the person whose family is being a problem, you need to lay down very specific rules for them.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, and if they defy those rules, you need to enforce some form of consequence. Like for you, what you were doing is if your mom, at one point you had a rule with your mom where if she badmouthed me, you wouldn't talk to her for a month. And you did it on many occasions.
Yep. Be prepared for this to be a constant effort, possibly for the rest of your life. Because even though now both of my parents are much better because I have set very, very clear boundaries, when they have a bad day, you know, you are the whipping boy.
Yep. Be prepared to put in the work,
yeah,
regardless of which member of the relationship you are. Like, it never feels good to be harsh to your family, but I do sincerely feel like if you're trying to bring this new person into your family, you're trying to make a family with them, you need to think to yourself, well, are they a second-class family member compared to your existing ones? You are my wife, and you are the mother of my child, and I think that makes you very special. And even before you were my wife or the mother of my child, I saw you in those roles. You know?
Aw.
Haha.
I love you.
I would add, I think that the no middleman thing, obviously it's part of the rule category, but I think it's an especially important rule to have. Like, to me, in retrospect, that was the one that made the most difference.
I feel like we're forgetting one.
I think we're forgetting one too.
Oh! Last one.
Yeah, last one.
Be okay with it not being perfect.
Oh, that's a good one.
You're never going to get to a point where everybody is kumbaya. You are going to constantly have these little tensions. And you just got to be okay with that. Like, you know, friends
Absolutely.
fight, family fight. You still care for each other.
It gets better. And I promise you that. It does get better. And especially if you and your partner are aligned, you can make it through. Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of editing to do with
I
that.
am.
No, don't give the feet people any ammo.
No! Thank you guys so much for your time and viewership. I hope that you have found this information and our story useful and can apply it to your own life or to the life of a loved one.
Yeah, and I hope this was really entertaining.
Really entertaining. My name is Robbie Howell.
And I believe you.
Ciao for now.